Hey guys, it's TRIZE here, back with Automation, the car company Tycoon game in the most powerful engine series. We're going to be building the most powerful V10 engine in version 4.2. This particular engine was interesting to work with. It's got a much lower power rating compared to my V12 build and doesn't rev that high. You can call this the large Dodge Viper engine once you see the results later on in the video. So now, let's get started with the specs of the engine. So first things first, on the top left portion of your screen, you set this year to the year of 2020 to get everything out of this engine. After choosing the V9 degree V10 engine configuration, you may choose any block material that you could choose from. I'm choosing magnesium for the sake of weight and everything. And for the bore and stroke, as you see here, you square this off, max this out to 120 millimeters each to get the engine size to 13,572 cubic centimeters, or just around 13.6 liters. With a dual overhead cam 5-valve made out of aluminum silicone, again, for the sake of weight and everything. And for this quality slider, as you see here, you set this up to a +15 for everything. Whether it's for the engine in general, top end, bottom end, turbocharger, fuel, exhaust, everything. Just to get the most power out of the engine, of course. For the internals, we gotta have a balance shaft built in with the crankshaft and a billet steel with lightweight titanium cowl rods and regular forged pistons, and again, +15 on the quality. For the compression, kind of like my recent builds, you set this to a 15.0 to 1 ratio at an extreme level. The cam profile set nearly at a full-blown racing setting at a 90. And for the springs and lifters here, you set this to the soft level of a 25, and again, VVT at all cams. For the turbocharger, we're going to be using the twin turbo setup with a smart boost system. With the intercooler set, nearly maxes out to a 10,600 horsepower. For the aspiration everything, we're going to be using the variable geometry setup with ball bearings. With the compressor set, maxes out to 120 millimeters. The turbine also maxes out to 108.6 millimeters. The trim level at 100. And the max boost, you set this to, right on the mark, 43.5 PSI. For the fuel system, it's not going to be like every other engine I've made, but we're going to be using a direct injection with a twin throttle setup running on a race intake running on the newest DevBev fuel. With the fuel mixture set to a 10.9, the ignition timing maxes out to at 100, and the RPM limit just 2 clicks up to 6,400 RPM. And last but not least, with the exhaust and everything, we're going to be using ourselves some short cast headers with a dual exhaust, with the exhaust diameter maxed out to 203 millimeters, which equals to 8 inches. And of course, no cats, no mufflers, bring that quality up. And we get the final horsepower rating of 4,657.9 horsepower at 6,400 RPM. The torque at 3,859.7 pounds-feet of torque at 6,100 RPM. Yeah, this is quite interesting that how I set this up to. On my last engine build, the V12 had like 6,700 horsepower, but this guy at 4,600 horsepower. And not only that, not a whole lot of RPM or torque stress with either with the pistons or cowl rods, but nothing with the crankshaft. This is probably my most powerful yet reliable engine I ever made in this game. So for this half of the video, I'm going to hear what this engine sounds like. While playing around with it with the manual testing mode, I'll cycle through the main important graphs on here, starting from the power torque, torque boost, torque efficiency, and power and efficiency. After showing you all those 4 graphs, I'll show the engine right here, while doing some fake gear shifts for about like 45 seconds, and the video went off right there. So right now, bring it back to the graphs, the first graph, and give me here right now. Despite the low RPM, this really sounds like a Dodge Viper engine on steroids, to be honest with you. So that'll do it with automation the car company Tycoon gave with this powerful V10 engine. It's quite interesting that the power rating is drastically lowered compared to my previous build. I don't know if this is where the lower cylinder count engines begin to drop off or what in terms of power ratings. There's a chance later down the road that I'll improve this engine, as this engine is just as powerful as my first V16 build in version 4.1. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future, including my automation to BeamNG Drive videos too. So this is TRIZE rising up and signing out.